Hey everybody, how are you? Hope everyone had a good week. Welcome to the Backyard Professor Live Chess. Yusupov Chess. Oh my gosh, my hair is so goofy. Yeah, that's what I get for waking up early in the morning. Let me get this board situated. I don't know why that makes that. I promise that wall is straight. It makes it look crooked. The angle of the camera, I'm sure. And I've got to get this up, and hopefully, yeah, my sound is up. Good. Good. All right. Let's get going on this. We have some cool stuff I'm doing the beginning, the intermediate, and advanced in the Chess Yusupov course. And then that way that gives everybody something to, hey, Belaglavi sup, how you doing? That way it gives everybody something to enjoy. If it's too simple, intermediate, or advanced. I have noticed with Yusupov, though, that none of it is actually too simple. It's really pretty cool. Now these are all the volume 1, and he also has 3 more sets of the next level, volume 2. Then he has 3 more sets of the next level, volume 3. And then he has an extra one that's just pure, at least according to my opinion, is just pure bonus. And it's an entire book, a 10th book. So good. I'm glad you're great. I hope you had a good week. Here we are. It's Saturday already. Time goes too fast, man. I don't know. I am trying hard not to age faster, but I can't stop it. I mean, we're celebrating the 4th of July. Did we not just turn the year into New Christmas? Into the new year from Christmas. Did we not just celebrate that 2 weeks ago? And here we are on the 4th of July. Hey, MH, good to see you. Oh, cloudy Scotland. Boy, we've got sunny Idaho here, so you keep your clouds. We'll keep our sun. I've been outside watering the lawn, thinking about this chess stuff. This is really cool because this is the first one in the beginning. We're in chapter 3 in the beginning now, and he says we're going to examine the most important principles in playing the opening, and we've gone through this 1,000 times, and yet it's worth going through another 1,000 times. It really is, because there's so much to do even in just the opening. Yep, Christmas seems like last month. It does. It's crazy how fast time's going. We mobilize our forces quickly, as a general rule, absolutely. The more pieces we have in play, the more attacking chances we obtain. We know all that. That's basic. It's important. And he says whoever controls the center determines the course of the game. The second principle of opening, other than develop quickly, get our pieces out into the field, the second principle is to struggle for the center. Make sure you have more control. And it doesn't matter if you put your stuff right there in the center and coagulate it all there, or if you're going to put your bishops, if you fianchettoed both bishops, right, then you got that X across the center, and you stick your queen on an open file and your rooks on an open file. You can also control the center from a distance. Doesn't matter. Distance or close up by cramming them right in there. So the third principle of opening is to struggle against your opponent's ideas in order to make his development more difficult and to prevent him from controlling the center. So that's kind of an interesting take. Any move you can do that limits your opponent is probably helpful and a good move, right? I mean, that's how I would interpret that, yeah? So he has a game of Paul Morphy here that he's going to take us completely through, which illustrates all of these ideas. So I love this lesson for that reason. This is fun stuff. Paul Morphy is going to, and Morphy is Meek is playing the white and Paul Morphy is playing the black. So we're going to see how, as black plays, how he's going to do this. They're both, it appears to me, they are both developing in the center very quickly, which makes sense. Morphy is not going to leave the tension. I know sometimes I've made big deals about that, but he goes ahead and exchanges immediately. And Meeks puts the bishop up. So speedy development. We're seeing that from both sides. Very helpful. They're going in the center. They're not doing stupid stuff like that. Right? You'll never see a Paul Morphy game where he just does something like this. Absolutely never. That's not good. Just so you know. So this is a good, you'll never see a game of Paul Morphy either, or any today's grandmasters. I mean, could you imagine seeing Gotham Chess push the knight pawns like that? He would lose half his audience. Right? So no. Yeah, the idea is let's go to the center. So here we see Morphy doing that. Bishop c4. So this is a gambit line, right? Oh, hey, looks like a few more people. Hey, Boarlord, good to see you. Oh, what's his face? You know, that's supposed to be my nickname. Oh, what's his face? Watching from Pecker Dog, Turkey on vacation. Wow. Awesome, man. Well, I hope I make your hour on this morning hour on the vacation good. Hey, S. Parker, good to see y'all. All right, so White's playing a gambit line, is what he says. Knight takes the d4, is going to lead to the Scotch game, of course. c3 is also a gambit in which White is going to try to develop his pieces rapidly if he pushes the c3. So either way, we're going to try to go. The idea of a gambit, I suspect, in most cases is to, and you can either sacrifice the pawn or I mean, it depends on your opponent accepting it, but the idea of the gambit is to get a faster development. And he's playing Paul Morphy, so in a way it makes sense that he's going to do a gambit line. Morphy doesn't bite at all. He says, nope, more pieces out. I want to get more pieces out. Absolutely. And he does so. And here, knight f6 is also extremely playable, just so you know. Now, the knight g5, and that's an iffy move. There's no point to this. Not at this point. Against Paul Morphy, if he was still alive, you'd be an idiot to play like that. Because you're moving the piece twice, and you can't do a single piece attack against Paul Morphy. So there's two reasons why this is a mistake, he says. White moves a second time with an already developed piece. In essence, losing a tempo. So that means black, if black will play correctly, black can catch up right now to White's development. That can be dangerous for White. Black has a better chance of developing an attack. Oh, S. Parker, you're very kind. Thank you, my friend. That's very kind. Appreciate that. So, in the second place, White in this position forgets the fact that the opening is a fight for domination in the center, and through the above move, notice that this move takes away some influence in the center that the knight had. But that's not what you're supposed to do in the opening. So White has made an inferior move completely. So, and now, knight h6. Interesting. Here comes Morphy, right? Now listen to the logic of this. This is really cool. Oh, thank you, S. Parker. I appreciate you too, man. It was a lot of fun for me. Black defends himself with a developing move because he's covering the F pawn, right? See, this is a premature attack of White. Yeah, he's got the bishop out there. And so he thinks he's going to fool Morphy by bumping up the knight so that he can attack that f7 pawn, right? No, because he defends the piece, or he defends the pawn with a piece. So it doesn't cost Morphy any time at all. And he catches up in development. So what we get now is the knight's going to take the f7 anyway. Okay. Well, and here's why. Now, and this is a good comparison contrast. This is good. I like how Yusupov illustrates this. Yeah, he's got it covered, and he thinks he's really doing something cool by forking the queen and the rook by taking the f7 with the knight. But here is a better move. Here is a better move. You see? One, you get a piece out. Two, now you have the f7 covered, right? That's really important. The queen h5 is obviously, and you say, yeah, but I want to attack. I want to attack with 3 pieces, and especially with the queen. I mean, come on, the combination of a queen and a knight and a queen and a bishop, or a queen, a knight, and a bishop is absolutely always going to be better in every instance than just a knight and a bishop. That is why white is too hasty. Patience in chess pays. And I know, I hear your groans. Believe me, I groan every time I say that too. But, I mean, come on. You can see how much less strong that is. Okay, now this is the move you made, but you can see the difference in strength compared to this. I mean, there's no comparison. Queen h5 was the move, especially against Morphy. Yeah. So white is not quite playing this correctly. In the process, what Yusupov is trying to illustrate here is, in the process, he takes the pawn. He is neglecting the beginning development in the center by this. You can only call this a premature attack. Okay, so in the process, he's neglecting the center. He's also moving the same piece several times. So he is behind in development, right? And he goes through many different variations. We don't have time because I want to get through. This is a pretty long game, and I want to get through this. So now he gets to use his knight to protect the f7. So in essence, white has sacrificed the knight for the weak pawn at f7, right? So white is behind material. It's early on in the game. That's not the consideration. The consideration is his weaker center and his lesser development, and he proceeds to trade off all of his developed pieces. And this is not good. True. I mean, yeah. All right. You lose the fact that you're going to castle. However, white has eliminated through trade all of his development. Black has not. This changes the game. Now queen h5 comes up, and now you've got the simple g6, and now you've got the queen takes c5. So you're thinking, aha, see, he's going to make mincemeat of him, and that's not true. He's going to go to d6. So here's how Yusupov analyzes this particular play of white. With his attacks on the white queen, black gains time for the development of his own pieces. Because the queen is the most powerful piece, it's probably a better rule than not. Don't get her attacking in the beginning because, of course, she's the most powerful piece. And aha, that's what you would attack. That makes sense. So you're going to end up moving this queen around, trying to get her to safety, potentially many moves. In the meantime, black is developing. So this is the downside of attacking early with the queen, right? It's going to be very fun in the third book today, because in the advanced version, he's going to talk about queen sacrifices. And so that'll be a good contrast. Queens in the opening, not so much, if at all, ever, for any reason. And this illustrates why that is such a bad idea. D6, queen will go to B5. And he can't castle, but that doesn't mean you can't put your rook in the game. Yeah, so put your rook in the game. File, attack, get ready. He develops very quickly, and he exerts pressure where? Center. Absolutely. Every time. Paul Morphy did this absolutely, fundamentally, every single game, without exception. All of the great grandmasters do. Yeah. So observe this idea of what I just said a few minutes ago. This queen has moved 1, 2, 3 times. Now, white traded off the knight and the bishop, right? He got his piece back, but now the queen has moved 3 times. And here is the downside to that. You've got doubled pawns, and they're central. However, Morphy is moving them. So a doubled pawn in the center is not necessarily weakness unless you can control that square in front of the doubled pawns. If you can put a piece, rook, queen, knight's ideal, stopping their progress, then that's helpful. But in this instance, the double pawns are moving, and it does give him a better attack in the center, which is the principle that Yusupov is exploring here. So this is going to be very, very cool. Bishop e6 was also an alternative. Bring your bishop out. So he's going to go f3. And so he's going to defend the center, of course. I mean, you're not going to let your opponent just hack you to pieces in the center. You got to protect it, right? And now here comes the knight. Hit the queen in the process of going to the edge. The knight will get an even better development. Very cool. It makes the queen move again. Yeah, d3. Okay, it stops the pawns from moving. That is not the most active square. It's certainly not the better square. Queen a3 was much better, really seriously. So, and he gives an enormous amount of variations that I'm not going to go through at this point in time, because he's got some other ideas that I want to keep showing through the course of the game. Now, he says, okay, you wanted to protect the center by bumping the f3, yeah? And it does that. But again, the queen is out. And the best way is to attack the queen because she is the most powerful piece. The best way to do that is, again, in the center. And you say, well, that doesn't hurt because the f-pawn is there just to simply take the pawn. But it opens up the f-file, and the h comes into play, the queen, I should say, to the h. Now it's Morphy's turn. The center has been mildly opened up. Morphy has had control of the center through the rook. Not much is really developed, huh? And yet all of a sudden, Morphy brings in his heavy pieces. Notice his control of the center is through the distance. That rook on E is enormous. The bishop actually is not developed, right? It's still on its own base, and yet it slices not through the center, but it's got a good edge of the center coming through. This is going to be very interesting. And G3 is going to block. And because of that, he's preventing white from castling. All right, so we've got that. Cool. Now, your queen's under attack. Don't just passively move a piece that's under attack out of the way or out of danger. If you can centrally take the pawn, check, bring another powerful piece directly in the center, also protecting your pawn, Morphy's center in just 2 quick developing moves becomes overwhelming. And it's the long distance pieces. Now, what happens if he gets the bishop into this? Right? It's curtains. Watch this. This is amazing. And queen takes e4 also leads to a winning endgame, he says. But Morphy wants to attack. So king comes to f2. The king is still in danger. Queen is going to go to e7. Look at this. Putting the queen behind a rook on an open file is always a really big announcement that, hey, I'm attacking, and I'm going to attack with really good power. So this is fascinating how he's disrupted the king side. He made it so that he can't castle either. His opponent can't castle either. The queen has done her job. Now get her out of danger, but put her in a very, very, very powerful central influencing position right behind that rook. Yeah. So knight now to d2. There's better moves. It's not the best, but it's okay. Rook will come to e3. What an outpost. Did you see that? Now, that's fun. That's worth considering because really you don't want your queen to be babysitting your rook all the game, right? You want to put that rook to work. What better way than put it on an outpost and attack the queen? Yeah? You're deep in your opponent's territory. You're smack dab in the center. You have yet to bring your knight off the rim or your bishop in the game, but your rook and queen are completely dominating the center. And this is critically important. Hey, Twin Turbo Henry, good to see you, my friend. Glad you made it. The white queen must protect the e2 square here. That's the issue. So the e3 square is important to put the rook on. He comes to queen b5. He's trying to make his queen more active, but he's got to keep an eye on that e2 square. See, he's got to get that bishop into the game to bring that other rook in, and he can't. He is a move behind. Why? Because he moved his queen so often in the beginning. That's going to be a really important factor here, okay? So because he's moved the queen a lot, he can't bring out his really heavy piece. He can bring that rook in, and he'd better hurry and do so because Morphy's on the run. Morphy's on the attack, and here we go. Now observe this really interesting thought. Is he just throwing the knight away? He pushes a pawn, but he's not wasting moves because he's pushing a pawn with tempo. All right, well, but does that lose the knight? No, because this is the square the queen has to guard. Unfortunately, white is not in the position because he can't get his bishop off the home square, that he can't just bring the rook over to help protect the e2. He'll just lose the rook. So this position through the center here is really powerful. So Is the knight in danger? No. So increase, amazingly, now we're in the middle game. Obviously, you can see we're in the middle game, but increase your influence in the center at the same time gaining tempo, tagging the queen. That's brilliant chess. It's really crazy. That's really kind of fun. So now queen has to go all the way down to f1. The queen has to retreat all the way down to f1, and now look how the center of white just disappears. There really is nothing there. That's important. That is really cool. So, recognizing that the game is fatal if white stops controlling this e2. So, is he going to lose the bishop? The bishop's going to chase the queen off. This is amazing. This combination is really cool. Again, the energy of black is also seen. The pieces. You've got a pawn that's in the territory. You've got a rook that's on the outpost deep in the territory. You've got a queen that's backing up, influencing getting into the territory. And now you got this pesky bishop that's deep in the territory as well. The energy of black is really in good contrast to the complete passivity of white. That's important. All because white wasted too many knight moves in the opening to try to get that f7 pawn so that he could make it so that Morphy couldn't castle. Notice that really didn't affect Morphy's game in a negative manner, though. And because of those extra knight moves, Morphy was able to catch up in development. And then when the queen came out and moved all around, because if you pull your queen out early, yeah, you will attack that queen and she will be forced to move. Because of all those extra moves, the energetic play is capable for being played with black. Really cool to see why those principles in the opening are so important. Queen d1. Still protecting e2, that is true. But now, here comes the other rook to a threatened, discovered check. How quick. He bops the bishop there. He's got the rook and queen. The other rook immediately comes into game. Everything through the center is attacking that king. Notice how white's pieces are all just sort of out of the way. That's mind-boggling. That is impressive. That's power chess that Morphy's playing there. Nothing razzle-dazzle and dazzling, just rock-solid chess, because Morphy is paying attention to the beginner theme. Get your pieces out early and fight for the center. Simple stuff. Yeah, we've all heard it. Don't worry about it for right now. It's just basics. Morphy always kept to those basics. That's why this game is so strong. This is really a great lesson. Beginners who in the heat of the fight only play with pieces that are already engaged in battle and often forget to call on their reserves can learn a lesson from this move. You really do have a lot of pieces in the fight, correct. But why not bring in more? That's what Morphy did. Very important point. And that was Richard Reddy who said that. Very, very crucial and interesting. So let's see what happens. Knight f3, once again, trying to block the influence, the severe influence, even the threat. See, he hasn't even executed the move yet, right? exposing that rook on the file to threaten the king. He's just merely threatening it, and even that threat causes white to go blitzoid. He goes, I've got to protect my king. Finally, and now king e8. Now this is a little joke, and this is savage. It's a savage little joke. White can do nothing about the threat of rook takes f3. But king g8 would lead to the same result, right? So the next move is rook takes f3. Doesn't matter which rook. Ideally, the f rook would take f3 without question, truly. Because then you're just absolutely trouncing. It was at this point that white resigned. Duh. So that's kind of a really interesting lesson from a super advanced player who played using, so to speak, utterly beginner baby steps rules. But the effect is incredible. So don't ignore the simple baby step rules of the beginning. That's the lesson here. Great. I mean, Yusupov's books is chock full of cool stuff like this. That's why I'm so excited to be sharing them with you guys. Yeah, we're having fun. So let's go to Boost Your Chess, Volume 2. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this one I've chosen 3 diagrams instead of 2. So let me hold on. Let me set this diagram up first. Then I will talk. I will share what Yusupov says. This is really a great little lesson. That's fun. Oh, whoops. No, bishop there. Pawn gone, and the knight is not on there, and the white pawn is right there. The rook. No. Pawn, bishop. Rook, pawn. There we go. Queen over, and this rook is out. Okay, so white is going to be king behind his 3 pawns with the rook over here, the queen up, the 3 pawns on the side, the knight here in a nice outpost, and oh yeah, these pawns are gone. Clearly we're in the end game, and the rook is gone. Okay, so hang on, let me double check. Pawn to the pawn, B, queen, bishop, queen, knight. Okay, so in this position, nobody in his day hardly could, that's for sure. Only when he was really, really super sick or drunk or whatever. But yeah, Morphy was awesome. Very good to study because today even some of his moves look really ridiculous. They're not. They're just speedy developing moves. And it's really amazing how they can affect your game when you put that into your game. And that's the whole idea. Yeah, that's why we're studying this junk, right? Yeah. Hey, Chloe Grayson, how are you? So in this position, now what we're going to look for now this is the intermediate. We saw the beginning book, Opening Principles. In this intermediate chapter 3 in the intermediate book, he wants to share the theme of back rank combinations. So in this chapter, we'll take a look at another typical motif in combinations, the weakness of the back rank. And that's something you always have to keep your eye on. When files are open, it is time for the major pieces, the rooks, right? The queen. So then you have to be especially careful and protect your own back rank. A bolt hole for your king is often extremely necessary. Really seriously, it's worth taking the moment. A bolt hole. bumping a pawn. And depending on the position, of course, it really almost doesn't matter whether it's an H, a G, or an F on either side. You really have to give your king an escape square. That's a very necessary thing once you get to this point in the end game, or even in the middle game. And so back rank combinations are extremely effective, and they mainly employ the typical ideas of deflection and the double attack. So let's look at this. This is Silwa and Stoltz, Bucharest in 1953. In this position, there is firstly a typical combination involving a promotion. So, are you guys giving me a move that you think is in this position? Chloe Grayson. Hey, Chloe, good to see you. Chloe Grayson says Rook D1. It is white to move, however. Sorry, I should have said that. Okay, thanks, Chloe. Yeah. And Belaglavi is saying knight B7. You're saying take the pawn? Is that what you're saying, Belaglavi? Take the pawn? That doesn't do you any bit of good at all. You got a sharp eye, amigo. Not yet, but... Oh, and Karin Arsani. Okay, then white to move first. Queen take bishop. Oh. Why would you do that, Karin? Queen take bishop. Answer for yourself. That is the correct move. Or I should say, well, that's what this guy did, right? So let's take a look at this. And the theme, of course, the idea is the back rank weakness. So the queen actually does take C6. And you're going, what? Okay, remember, to exploit the back rank weakness, sometimes it really does take a sacrifice and or a deflection, right? Yes, Karin. Yeah, the idea of promotion, correct. Yeah, that's really cool because now, so it looks like, oh boy, he really went down the exchange. Queen for the bishop for the moment. And now, see, you had a passed pawn, but it was blocked. So deflect the pawn so that you can go get your queen. That's kind of cool, right? Very interesting. Well, you go, all right, yeah, but, I mean, come on, queen D8. Ta-da! I mean, that was nothing. You stopped it, yes? No, you didn't. Look, you didn't stop the pawn from promoting. So go ahead and promote, right? That's what Karin was saying. Promote, get your queen. That's what happened. And you're going, all right. Check it out. Check it out. Right? The weakness of the back rank, he doesn't have a hole open yet for the king. Yeah? So this is a really interesting idea. So black is going to attempt to do a counter attack. Yeah? He still does have rook to D1, check. Uh-oh. Now you're going to lose your queen. Rook takes the rook, and the queen takes the queen. Now what have you done? Now what have you done? What have you done? You won the game, because now, like Belaglavi was talking about, you saw it, it was just supposed to be a later move, knight to B7. And the reason why is because rook d8 and you're in. You go into an endgame with an extra piece. Once again, the weakness of the back rank. Now, I thought that was a really kind of a cool, fun illustration of that, right? I don't know what you're saying. I don't know about Karin. Sorry, I didn't see your comment until just now. Anyway, yeah, now the knight to b7 does it. And you can't take it. That doesn't help you because it's mate. See? So that's fun. So let's go to another diagram. And I will set this up pretty quick also, I hope. And we've got the white and the white. No knight on this one. Is there a rook? Yes, we've got a rook. Rook right there. We've got another black pawn here. Rook in front. Oh, and the queen's down here on the pawn. And there's not a rook here. Whoops. Don't lose my rooks. I'm going to bump both these pawns, and we're going to put the king up. Oh, yeah, this is Alekin. This is Alekin and Johnner. The queen is going to be here, and the pawn is going to be here, and the rook is going to be here. Okay, so just one rook. Got it. Queen, got it. The three pawns. The queen pawn, rook, king, pawn here. Okay, so I've got this set up right. Want to double check? Okay, so I've got this set up right. So the idea here, this is a really interesting position. If it's with Alekin, you know it's going to be really interesting chess play. Without question. So, a far advanced pawn, like we see here. Now the rule, you know, for far advanced passed pawns, the rule for passed pawns is now black is forced into defense. You have to stop the pawn from promoting. Usually at the end of the game, you've got some heavy pieces still. If you played the middle game right, either a rook or both rooks. Hopefully still a queen. Sometimes not. Sometimes you have a bishop or two. In this instance, this pawn, because it's so far advanced, really does make black have to stop it. Therefore, black is on defense. Yeah, so the white rook is far more active than the black. Thanks to that little pawn who is so far advanced. That's a really important point. And here's why. Yeah, rook c8, man. White to move. I'm sorry. I should have said white to move. What would you have done? I'm sorry. I should have done that. Because with Alekin, you can almost never second guess him. Yeah, and so this is potent. This is potent. Yeah. And you don't want to go rook c7. That's not the way to do that. Don't worry about protecting your pawn, because that gives him a chance to open up the king. You want that king closed in there, so you go all the way down. Absolutely. You go all the way down, and the rook will take the rook. And you say, all right, yeah, but, all right, I get it, but if you retake the rook with the pawn, then you've accomplished nothing, because the queen will just take on c8, right? So don't worry about your pawn. What's your next move? Queen e7. That's just flipping brilliant. I mean, wow. Bring your other piece into it. And Yusupov says this is the key move, because the threats are bumping the pawn into d8 to get a queen. Not taking the rook, bumping it in to d8 to get a queen. That's the threat. Straight in, not take it. Because if you take it, you're not going to get your back rank checkmate, right? Because his queen will be guarding the back rank. So the queen is taboo. If he takes the queen, then of course, whoops, sorry, if he takes the queen, if the black takes the queen, then you take, and go check, and you're in. So it was at that point that he resigned. So that back rank, one of the keys to remembering the importance of the back rank. See, Alekin was not hemmed in. And you say, well, I've heard it said, okay, so there are times when we do say, don't move any of the pawns. Every time you move a pawn in front of the king, it does create weak squares. It does, or direct holes, especially if you're moving the G pawn. All of a sudden, the entire dark square complex around the king is weak from just one little pipsqueak pawn move. However, he has bumped both of them together. They're still what Yusupov later in his later course will call a fortress that you can then tuck your king up and in. So Alekin has eliminated, he's got weak white squares, light squares around his king, but so what? He eliminated the back rank weakness. This, every time you see this, and the king is way tucked in over on the H or the G, etc., I know there's so much in chess to remember, I get that, but remember there are back rank weakness potentials. Now, the minute he does something like that, he solves the problem. Or if it's you solve the problem. So that's pretty important. So, and this is such an important concept because I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. I don't care how old you are. We've all had these issues with this back rank. So let's look at another one that is really cool. I really liked this one. One, because yes, I'm biased entirely. I am rather quite fond of David Bronstein. His chess was just beyond impressive. It was animal to the hilt, in my opinion. And yes, I am welcome to have my opinion. However, hang on. Yeah, Bronstein was just, gosh dang, he was something else. Oh, no, we don't have this now. All right, hold on. Bump those two and get rid of that guy. And let's put the bishop on F3. Very good. Bishop covering. Oh, and we got to have a rook. Here's my other rook. Wait. Okay, so where did I put my white rook? Oh, there it is. So we got the other rook here. Okay, now the rook and the queen are not together. Yeah, D3 covering queen. Okay, so I've got to have a black rook here. Ooh, he's got the A file. That could be interesting, maybe. And the other rook here. Okay, I think I've got this. Bishop on D7. Yes, queen. Pawns, double pawns. Okay, so Mykonos is the white pieces. Bronstein is playing the black pieces here. And it is black's move. Okay, so we'll give you just a moment to look at this. If you were playing, and it is black's move next, what would you do? As I slop water all over myself. Karen says Queen E7. Are you talking about this one, Karen? This particular. So black to move. So you're saying go to Queen E7? Is that what you're saying? Queen E7. Belaglavi says rook takes A3. Karen, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Karen. Oh, not now. Okay. Okay. Well, Belaglavi What are you thinking? Why in the Sam Hill would you do that? Because you're losing your rook, right? I'm just curious. That is the correct move. Just so you know. Come on, I have to give you a little bit of a razz, right? We're having fun here. No, sharp eye, Belaglavi. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's why. If the idea is because if the rook takes a3, then the queen comes in. Again, now this is cool too, and I didn't point this out. So see, I have utterly failed. Even with just 2 pawns, if the king is tucked away on the h, you've got a weak back rank potential. Yeah. Yeah. Now, if this had been a dark squared bishop, that wouldn't have been so bad because you can bump over to this G1 to protect against any check. But it is the light squared bishop, so there's a potential for back rank, and that's what Belaglavi saw. Go ahead and destroy the pawn structure. Go ahead, take my rook. Yeah. The other one that I liked, he's got a few variations here. I will share this one with you. If the queen takes a3, then the queen to e1, and then the rook takes e1, and then the rook takes e1. See, that's the that was the theme of the first of the chapter. He said one of the ideas with this back rank weakness is when your rooks are on open files, they go all the way down and boink, clobber you, so that you can sacrifice stuff over here to deflect a queen away from protecting that and drop your rook down. So that's kind of cool. That's good to see. So those 3 examples are really cool about the back rank weaknesses. And so it's always, there's enough to think about in chess, but as you get through the middle game, maybe toward the end of the middle, getting to the end game, you always want to double check yourself and your opponent to see, man, are we having back rank weaknesses? And if you are, then you must do something about it. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, now this is on the queen sacrifices. Let me set this up. This is between Geller and Spassky. And, you know, Spassky gets a bad rap because, of course, he got stuck with Fischer. So he is always, forever, going to be compared to Bobby Fischer. And so he's inferior. Boris Spassky was one of the absolute premier chess players in the world in his day, in Bobby Fischer's day. It was not that he was bad or weak. It is that, for whatever reason, Fischer was a lot stronger, right? And manhandled Spassky. Spassky really shows his power in this particular setup. I just wanted to show that, to say that as a defense for Boris Spassky. He was not just a kid out there playing dominoes and playing with tinker toys, playing chess. He was simply one of the greatest, without question. So anyway, I have ranted and raved enough about Boris Spassky. A good chess player, all right? That's what I'm trying to get across. Did I get that across? I hope I got that across. Because he really was a good chess player. That's how it works. Let's put the bishop here, queen, and we want the knight. And pawn at the d4. Very good. Well, we want the bishop here in the outpost. We want these pawns advance somewhat, king over with the rook. So we're in the middle game. We're not in the end game by any means. here. They are playing hot to trot hardcore chess, and they're both doing very, very good. The lesson here, as Yusupov shares, is simply exquisite. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time. So we've got this, and we've got the F-pawn missing. Does he have both bishops? Does he have both bishops? Yes, he does. So Geller, now this is cool because Geller also has, Geller was absolutely fantastic. He's got, now Spassky's the black, he's got both those bishops. So does Geller. Geller has both his bishops, and his bishop is on an outpost in the center, while Spassky has his knight on an outpost in the center. Okay, so strong center, which is no surprise. But that's not what this is about. This is going to be about a queen sacrifice. Now, it is black to move. Okay, so this is advanced chess. This isn't chess 101. This is chess 1101. if there is such a thing. Hey, Ben Garner, good to see you, my friend. Great to see you. And thank you for saying hi. Welcome. So this is quite an interesting situation. And Spassky pulls the bishop to g5. So both the bishops are raking through, but he's preparing for a queen sacrifice. And why would you do that in this position? The material is basically even, if I remember right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, material is even. So why are you going to sacrifice your queen? Well, that's the billion-dollar question in chess, right? So Spassky has accurately calculated and the required variations, and he has correctly evaluated the position, and rook comes to c7. Now, this is what Spassky was looking for. Again, the rook on the open file, you got to use it. Yeah. Put tremendous pressure on the second rank of your opponent, the 7th rank for you, hitting the queen. And it's guarded with the bishop. And the queen will take it. And there's the shock of this game. You go, you're playing Geller. You can't just sacrifice a queen for nothing here. You better hope to goodness and little cute kittens that you've calculated correctly, or you're in deep trouble here. So now we activate the pieces stronger check. Again, deeper into territory, the opponent's territory. Again, moving your piece closer to the king and checking him. So far, this looks pretty good. King comes to g2. Now, the knight takes the knight, attacking the rook. Very interesting how the rook now comes and swaps. Check, back rank weakness at this point, except he's got it covered. So he exchanges. So really, Spassky ends up having a rook and a knight for the queen. So his pieces have to be coordinated very well. Okay, he didn't quite get 3 pieces for a king. He only got 2. So the bishop will now take... The bishop will now take d5. Sealing Spassky's king in that corner, right? The rook will come to f2, check. So he's down material, but his pieces are better coordinated. That's a really important point here to know. The king has to go to g3, and Spassky, as the black absolute marvel, comes here to knight f1 check, and king comes to h4. And now you need to think one move ahead and seal off a king escape, a potential king escape. And this is where Spassky shines. He seals the escape route, because the king's not going to be coming back this way. Not even. Can't happen. So you have to seal the escape route. And so bishop to d8. Let's get the bishop involved. And the rook to f8. And here, Geller resigned. And you go, well, I see after all. That can't be prevented. Checkmate. The h-pawn, the move of the h-pawn sealed the escape. Very cool how that happened. But again, one of the keys was Spassky from the g5 putting his bishop closer to the opponent's king. And therefore, now he can directly attack it. I mean, that's a spectacular ending to beat Geller, because like Bela Glavi was saying, Geller, ooh, that's chess gold, man. Any game by Geller is worth watching. Geoplanet Jane, nice to see you, hon. Excommunicate. Oh, well, cool. I resign. No, you're actually. Yes, the bishop will take the stake president. That is correct. The bishop does take the stake president. The king is gone. Oh, hey, Ben Garner. Good to see you, my friend. Well, thank you very much. I enjoy making them. I enjoy doing the religious and the history and the philosophy, but I enjoy the chess as well. And the cool thing is, so far as I know, I don't know of anyone who is exploring the Yusupov chess course like I am on YouTube. And of course, I'm not exhausting it. This is just basically giving you a really good taste. You know, I'm not feeding you the whole chess course. That would take years, literally. But I am selecting bits and parts from the beginner, the intermediate, and the advanced, and that's a lot of fun for me to do. So, for those of you who are interested, so that's pretty much, that's pretty much what we've got for today. For those of you interested, this is you, Geoplanet Jane, probably, and some others. If you're interested, if you're not, no big deal. But tomorrow night, I have one of the best, coolest lives against the Mormon apologists that I've ever discovered. They were fooled by a really clumsy archaeological discovery that actually is a fraud. And the internet was abuzz with Mormon apologists saying how much it supported the Book of Mormon, though, and it's complete bunk. So I will be covering that with a very popular YouTube group, The Stick of Joseph. And so, they were a little bit too naive and didn't use their critical thinking. And I will be exploring that in depth, showing the difference between apologetics and scholarship. One of my favorite things to do, because I come out of the apologetic camp. So back to chess for the moment. Oh, no kidding. In Japan, there's a chess channel on cable. How cool. Yeah, Go channel. The Japanese are huge on Go. Yeah. My nephew plays Go quite a bit. He's kind of in a struggle between which do I like better, Go or chess. I played Go just a couple times, not very often, but I come back to my love. Go is a great game, though. I'm not knocking it at all. So, oh, all righty. Hey, thanks, you guys. I'm just a little bit over time. Not bad, but hour and 5 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever. But see you tomorrow night. Those of you who want to see a very, very detailed, fun discussion on archaeology, for one thing. That's one of my favorite subjects. I can't help it. Because I do like the biblical archaeology, and I do like debunking the phony biblical archaeology. Unfortunately, there are fraudsters out there. You got to watch it. And it's the same thing with the Mormons. The Mormons claim they have the Holy Ghost, and so they're more enlightened than the Christians and the Muslims, so they don't get fooled. All that happens in archaeology for them is it supports their scriptures, than which nothing is further from the truth, and I am not trying to mock anyone or make fun of anyone. I'm just saying the claims are extraordinary, and so, in proper scholarly fashion, we attempt to hold them to showing us extraordinary evidence, and there's many times when that fails, and that's what I like to note on Sunday night. So, just a plug. Next week, Saturday, same time, same place here, we will further delve into the magnificence of Yusupov Chess. I'll give you just a little bit of a teaser, okay, out of the intermediate. Okay, that's back ranks, and I went through 3 of these. See, he has only 5, so I gave you the majority of examples out of that chapter. And yes, you're welcome, my friends. That's what the Backyard Professor is for. And then he's got lots and lots and lots and lots of samples in the back. Okay, so here's a little primer. We're going to be exploiting weaknesses. Now, first, you have to know, well, all right, how do I see a weakness? Exactly. We're going to learn how to identify what weaknesses are, whether it's a square or a piece. And then we're going to learn how to take advantage of that. So I will and he's got an Irva on a floor diagram that he goes through too. Oh, and he's got his Yusupov Miles. That was a good game. We're going to have fun next week in this, you guys. Oh, and Botvinnik and Checkover. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. Hey, next week might be a little longer than an hour. I might go an hour and a half. Man, all 3 of these are really looking good. Irva and Floor. Okay, so anyway, we're going to learn about weaknesses and how to take advantage of. Oh, I'm excited. That's going to be cool. So, I'm looking forward to, yeah, as I tell my friend Mark Crispin when he shows up. I'll tell you guys that. So the back rank combinations was fun, and we're going to, because that can be technically, see, that's a weakness. So we will explore more weaknesses of other kinds and it'll be chapter 4 in his intermediate. And that's only in the first set. His course has 3 sets. So, I mean, there's hundreds of this stuff in just one book in one set. Yeah, man, we've got a boatload of stuff to learn. This is great. Hey, I'm really looking forward to next week. I did not know that was going to be in the Yusupov. Woohoo! Intermediate. Hang on. Now that you got me going, it's your guys' fault. It's not my fault. It's not like I'm enthusiastic or nothing. Okay, we looked at Queen Sacrifices, which was really good. And actually, I might do the next Queen Sacrifice also. That's Smyslov and Pal. That was a good one. The next lesson in the advanced is realizing a material advantage in a pawn ending. Start learning some endgame stuff. Irva and Olland. Oh, and there's Romanovsky. And Boretsky, ooh. Oh, he's got some important guidelines. Okay, next week, not only are we going to, so we're going to get a good combination of learning how to exploit weaknesses on the chessboard. Looks like this is also an endgame study in the advanced for next week. So we're going to start getting some endgame material too. Yeah, because we went through the queen sacrifices. Although I really might show you that. I'm going to show you that part with Smyslov and Tal. Remind me next week, you guys, those of you who are still around here. I've been saying goodbye now for a half an hour. But remind me to show you the queen sacrifice with Smyslov and Tal, if I don't remember. I will show that one. That'll be a good one. And then we'll move on to the endgame stuff. So there is some great stuff coming up for next week. That's all I'm trying to tell you. It's not like I'm trying to prime you and get you excited and make you come back. But if you don't come back, you're going to miss out. I'm just saying. And in the meantime, everybody have a good 4th of July, too. Of course, and that is from the United States bias because it is our 4th of July. And we do love our 4th of July. So, my chess lives, thanks for asking, Ben. My chess lives are always 10 in the morning on Saturday. So, yeah. So, thank you, Bella Glavi. Thank you, Karin. I will be back. The time on Sunday night is going to be 6 p.m. Mountain Time in the United States. So, anyway, thank you, MH. Good to see you, Geoplanet Jane. Thank you, Karin. Asrani, I hope I pronounced your name right, my friend. Thank you. And Bella Glavi, sup. Thank you. And Ben Garner, all of you. See you guys next week. Appreciate it. And have a great week. And be safe on the 4th. Have a 5th on the 4th. Woohoo! But buy it on the 3rd. Oh,